You ever feel like your investment portfolio is like that old friend you hang out with but don't really connect with anymore? You're comfortable with them but kind of uninspired? It could be that you're in the investment friend zone. And let's face it, your money deserves passion, not just a meh kind of relationship. Today, I want to dive into some reasons why you might be second guessing your portfolio and what options you have to either spice things up or make a clean break. If you're wondering about your investments and thinking, is it just time to start all over? Then you're not alone. And I'm going to break down the considerations you need to make before you take that leap. If you're considering a reset, it's crucial to first understand the reasons that have led you to this crossroad. Let's try and understand why you're in this place. Is it a lack of confidence, emotional attachments, or perhaps the allure of greener pastures? Firstly, don't sweat it, you're not alone. The doubts you're experiencing are completely normal. I know many times in my investment journeys that I've felt just like this, and I want to throw everything out the window. My early investment journey can probably best be described as experimental in hindsight. Picked random stocks, stockpiled ETFs, and had a go at crypto. I realized that over time, a portfolio that feels like a patchwork quilt isn't great for your confidence. Investing can become messy, and that's not a bad thing. Some simplification and clarity can improve that confidence. More on that later. What's important is that you don't blame where you're at on the process of building that craft of investing, but treat it as a learning experience. Maybe you've got shares in a company that you've worked for, a gift from a family, or the very first recommendation you received, and you're struggling to move on from something that has sentimental value. Emotional ties are natural, but they can cloud your judgment. The important thing is to recognize these feelings for what they are, emotional triggers that may not align with your financial goals. Sometimes an investment is just part of your financial journey for a limited time, there to do a certain job. Previously, I've worked for both Telstra and Wesfarmers and got access to shares as part of the employee share plan. On paper, these are great companies. But when I left my role, stepped back and looked at the entire investment strategy, I realized these shares were more about my past than my future. I was holding on to them partly because they were remnants of my career journey. Ultimately, I decided to sell off and invest in ETFs, which better align with my broader financial objectives. Then there's FOMO. There's fear of missing out. Who hasn't felt the pang of regret at a missed opportunity? Perhaps you're watching certain stocks soar while yours are just sort of meh. Or maybe old mate Jono can't stop talking about how he started investing in crypto and has doubled his money in a couple of years. FOMO is a classic emotion many investors face. It's part of the learning curve. But don't think of investing as competition. Your mate's risk tolerance and financial goals are likely different to yours. Stick to your game plan and adjust to it thoughtfully, not impulsively. Just remember that the investment landscape is always moving. Hot trends and stocks come and go. There will always be other opportunities, and you don't need to be involved in everything. If you do need some help setting up a portfolio or investment strategy, then maybe I can help put one together with you. There's plenty of information on my site that you can get access to this kind of information. So check it out. Link in description below. Now, you might have figured out why you're doubting your portfolio, but before you go all Marie Kondo on your shares, let's talk about the nitty-gritty of how to decide what stays and what goes. First things first, take a look at what you've got. Are your investments diverse, or are you putting all your eggs in one basket? Also, how are they performing against your financial goals? I used to hang on to underperforming stocks longer than I should have, eventually thinking they'd bounce back. It wasn't until I put everything under a microscope that I made some strategic moves. This doesn't mean turning into a day trader or going ultra conservative, but finding the sweet spot where you're comfortable with the level of risk you're taking on. In financial media, the topic of risk often gets glossed over, partially because it's really hard to explain. But for me, it's simple. Can I invest in something and still sleep comfortably at night, regardless of how it performs in the short term? To me, that's understanding risk. After some serious introspection and a detailed review of your portfolio, you're probably itching to make some kind of action. But before you make any drastic moves like selling off everything, it's crucial to weigh your options carefully. Is a fresh start the only path, or are there other avenues worth exploring? I've broken down the options you have. Option 1, sell everything and start again. If you're considering this route, know that selling your entire portfolio is a significant decision. There are costs involved like transaction fees and potential CGT taxes. It's also crucial to consider why you want to start over and what your new investment goals will be. But it's a big move, but if it aligns with your long-term plans, it might be the right one. I will say this, if you're in this situation and want to start again, make sure you actually do something. You don't take your money out, hold on to it for years, and go nowhere fast. Option 2 is pivot to other investments. Don't feel like you need to sell down everything to make a positive change. You can keep some of your stocks and diversify by adding other assets like ETFs or other individual stocks. This approach allows you to continue to mitigate risk without losing any ground. It's like adding another tool to your toolkit without getting rid of your old favorites. And it's a strategy I've used before. I leave what I have sitting there and I go and invest in something that I feel much more confident in. That way, there are no implications of selling or charges or fees. And I just balance out the investments I'm not confident in with the ones that I am. Option 3 is to do nothing and stay the course. Sometimes the best decision is to not make any changes. Markets have ups and downs. Emotional decisions often lead to mistakes. If you feel your portfolio is fundamentally sound, but are only questioning it due to recent bad news or poor performance, maybe the best move is to do nothing right now. Take a break, focus on other things, and come back to assess the situation later. At the end of the day, the decision to start over or to stay the course as your investing portfolio is deeply personal. The key takeaway is to make that decision consciously, armed with all the facts and a clear understanding of your own financial goals and risk tolerance. Whether you decide to overhaul your portfolio, make tweaks, diversify a bit, or even sit tight and do nothing, each option has its own merits and drawbacks. What's more important is that you're actively engaging with your investments, not just letting them drift away aimlessly. If you've been down this road before, you know that the investing world is far from static. Circumstances change, and it's okay for your strategy to evolve too. So take the breath, give it some thought, and make the choice that feels right to you. All the best. Happy investing.